Hi guys, how are you? Today we're gonna say about conditional sentences. Well, previously we've seen about already about transitive and intransitive. I am gonna explain in detail what's mean by conditional sentences. Of course, they are the ones which happen under one preconditions. So this conditional sentence can be classified into different categories. Now we are going to see about real conditional sentences. Maybe you have already heard about what I mean by real conditional sentences. That's what we are going to see in detail. So, as I've already explained, that conditional sentences are the ones which explain as something happens under one preconditions. So, for example, if I say that when you are here, I'm extremely happy, which means that being happy depends on when you are here, right? Or maybe let me give you another example. When you come here, we do it together, right? When you come here. So doing together depends on coming here. So there is one precondition, which is coming here, and then based on that we do it. So in general, conditional sentences are the ones, as I've already explained, which happen based on or under one precondition. Now let's see for now what's mean by real conditional sentences. Of course, as you can see, they are the ones which explain what's real or what's commonly known as fact or truths. Of course, there are sometimes there can be also called zero conditional, which is simply to explain what's real. So, in order to create or in order to form conditional sentences, which means that's real conditional sentences. You're gonna have this formula. Here is the formula: if or when plus verb 1 and then comma and then verb 1. So based on this, you can create several zero conditional sentences or real conditional sentences. Mean that, for example, if I don't eat, I'm hungry, right? So I'm hungry depends on, which means that's based on not eating. Of course, in opposite to this, if I eat, I'm not hungry, which is, you can make it negative. But being hungry depends on not eating, which means that if I don't eat, I'm hungry. So I'm hungry is the main clause. I'm hungry is the main clause, and if I don't eat is the dependent or subordinate clause. Now we do have two clauses here, as you can see. The first one is if I don't eat, which is if I don't eat is the one which is called dependent sentence. It's a dependent sentence, and then I'm hungry is an independent sentence, right? So based on this, when you combine together both these dependent and dependent sentences, which are merely or simply made up of verb 1, in most cases, this is what we call zero conditional. So now let's take a look at the second sentence. That is, if you melt ice, it turns into water, right? So now turning into water, right, depends on melting, right? The first action, which is explained already in the dependent clause. If you melt ice, it turns into water. But my point here is, now this is what you call what's generally known that everybody knows that whenever you melt ice, absolutely or truly or certainly, of course, it turns into water, right? If you melt ice. But of course, I can give you another example which are very similar to this. If you boil water, what happens? surely it evaporates, right? Or it turns to vapor. So this is also one of the examples of real conditional sentence, right? And then let me give you, let's take a look about the final example. When I eat, I don't like to talk, right? I don't like to talk when I eat. So which means that I don't like to talk when. So it answers when I eat, right? So when I eat is a dependent clause, and then I don't like to talk is the main clause. The main clause, of course, is an independent clause. That's what called the main clause, because it can stand alone. That's why we call it it's an independent clause. And then in opposite to this, when I eat is a dependent clause which doesn't give any sense alone when I eat. Is that right? So if I cut the second sentence, which is what I call I don't like to talk. If I delete or cancel that one, the second sentence. So the first one, which is incomplete when I eat, right? It is incomplete. So as to make it complete, or so as to add any independent clause. So in general, so as to summarize, conditional sentences are the ones which merely happen based on one preconditions, and then for now we are discussing about real conditional sentences, or sometimes they are called real conditionals, and the one which are created from V1, which means that in both cases, in dependent and independent sentence. So you are going to have V1, which means verb 1. So based on this, you can create different or several sentences, which are what called real conditional sentences. Thank you for watching my lessons or following me. Thank you so much for your being for your time, and also for just attending my online class. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. See you.